Peace. This is Wise for Wise Words Media, back at y'all for another Top 5 Tuesdays. And December 4th just passed, so that only means one thing in the hip-hop world. That is the birthday of one of the greatest rappers to ever do it, Brooklyn's own Jay-Z. So in honor of that, this week's edition will be a top 5 Jay-Z albums of all time. So at number 5, we'll start things off with an album that I feel is overlooked, that many people don't really talk about this album as much, and it's the Champagne album, In My Lifetime, Volume 1. Volume 1 starts off with a banger. And I mean, Jay-Z, this is what he's known for. Starting off his albums with banging intros, and we get none other than DJ Premier for 1,000,001 Questions. How do you start an album like that? I mean, that's one of my favorite Jay-Z songs ever. You know, like, just, and especially the remix though. I'm just a little hurt that the remix didn't make the album instead, because the remix is I think that's my favorite Jay-Z verse ever. 98 Primo remix, Ain't Nothing Different, I Don't Know What Y'all Spin Sniffing, Jig is Still Dipping, Chrome's on the Whipping, 4 days out the week, Find Me in the Kitchen, Hooked to the Game, Stuck Like Glue, Poppy gave me one pie, but it cooked like two. I'm a crook like you. Cats around my way with buying brand new whips, and what could I do? No, I'm supposed to style. I'm the hustler's poster child. Rock lizards and crocodile. Get the out of here. Yo, Jay's a monster. But anyway, back to Volume 1. He kills it with the original 1,000,001 Questions, which is a banger. Nice watch. Do you really got a spot like you said in front of foe? And if so, what block? What you doing in LA with Filipinos and essays? Yo, he killed that. He killed that joint. But then, you know, I think people look over this album because of Sunshine and You Belong to the City, which I love You Belong to the City. But you know, those two records were more commercial friendly, and I think that's why people, you know, overlook this album. But forget those two songs, man. Yo, this album is full of bangers, man. You got When the Streets Is Watching, If I Shoot You, I'm brainless, but if you shoot me, I'm famous. What's it gonna do when the Streets Is Watching? Man, Streets is, that song right there, that intro line right there has become one of the most quoted lines in hip-hop history. You know, he also had joints on there like Who You With, which to me is a banger. He had Cough Up Alum, Where You From? Marcy, son, Ain't Nothing Nice. Yo, fire. He flamed through that whole album. He had the joint, Sometimes the Rap Game remind me of that game, where he compared the rap game to the hustling game. Beautiful metaphor, destroyed that song. You know, Jay had bangers on this album. Bangers, very overlooked album. And to me, probably my favorite song, or one of my top 2-3 songs on that album, is Lucky Me. Y'all only know what you see. You don't understand what it takes to be me. What? Man. What y'all know about being on a dance floor, hot as vest, can't press up too close, get a lawsuit for that. Like, yo, he poured out so much stress with his new acquired success on that. I love that song. Oh, and Imaginary Players, when he was getting at Diddy and Mace. Whoa. I was pouring champagne when a lot of y'all thought it was beer. Oh my goodness. Yo. Yeah. Volume. I can't stay stuck there because I could talk about that album for a long time. It's a very overlooked album. I'll start there with number 5. Number 4. Number 4 is a surprise to me because number 4, for many years, wasn't even in my top 5. But this album grew so much on me that it not only broke my top 5, but it made number 4 on my list. And that's The Dynasty. And I gotta admit, The Dynasty I didn't think was better than certain Jay albums, but with time and maturity and age, that album was ahead of its time, man. The Dynasty was such a fire album. First of all, start with the intro, like previously stated. Jay's intros, that's one of the things he's known for, the legendary intros. That Dynasty intro, banger. Then you got joints that was, like Change the Game, stuff like that. The joint with Pharrell, I Just Wanna Love You. That joint, he had joints for the radio, but he had street joints. Yo, the joint with Siegel, The Streets Is Talking, yo. And Siegel pulled a Ghostface Killer on Purple Tapes. What Ghostface was to the Purple Tape, the co-host, that's what Siegel was to the Dynasty. Siegel murdered, he bodied so many joints on that album. The Streets is not only watching, but they talking now. Yo, he went ballistic on that joint. On Daddy, Where Have You Been? Yo, you want to talk about pouring pain on a song? On This Can't Be Life? Yo, that, you see, the Dynasty has so many introspective songs like that. Between Daddy, Where Have You Been? Between This Can't Be Life. Like, and I was going through some struggles at that time, around the time like that album came out. So I'm like, damn, son, it's relatable music. Like, it wasn't just party music. It wasn't just flashing Rolex diamonds and all of that. He was giving you a lot of reality rap on this joint. So I really grew to appreciate that album. And you had the banger, one of the banger of all bangers on that song, on that album, 1-900 Hustler. That posse cut, man, was very important in old school hip hop. And that posse cut on that joint, 1-900 Hustler, murderous. They all got off on that. Dope song. So yeah, The Dynasty takes number 4 for me. At number 3, this is where it gets tricky, man. Because number 3 and number 2 could be interchangeable for me, man. Sometimes I feel number 3 is number 2. Sometimes I feel number 2 is number 3. But let's just go. Let's just say it. All right, bet. At number 3, I'm gonna go with The Blueprint. The Blueprint is number 3. The Blueprint is one of those albums that, every rapper had that album that is like, or a rap group had that album that when that one comes out, you're like, this person's a bona fide legend. And he's one of the greatest. And The Blueprint was that for Jay-Z. There was his greatness, his spot as one of the greatest ever was undeniable after that album. The Ruler's Back, you got that joint. Then right after that, ROC, Running This Rap. Yo, I'm a huge Nas and Prodigy fan. Those are 2 of my top 3 rappers of all time. Peace to Half Mil. That completes my trilogy, my 3 favorite. But when he got at 2 of my favorite on that, and the way he did it, man, Jay proved he was no joke. No joke. Jay got off on the takeover. Takeover is self-explanatory, man. We all know what that was, man. That shook up the game. That was a game changer. For real, for real. Then, Heart of the City. Ain't no love, man. I scramble like Randall with his Cunningham, but the only thing running is numbers, fam. Jigga held you down 6 summers. Damn, where's the love? Wow. Ooh, goosebumps. Yo, Jay bodied that. Girls. Woo, one of my favorite Jay-Z singles. Girls. Killed that concept. Bodied that. Then, you don't know what you do. What? Man, listen. Yo, Jay went off on that album on so many joints. But one thing I have to say, because Nas and all of his genius misled a lot of people. And of course, I love when he said that Eminem bodied you on your own. Like, Nas said that because it was war. You hit below the belt. And in the flow of so much facts that he was dropping on Ether, and as great as Ether was, a lot of that stuff can just be taken in. And you don't chew it. You just quickly swallow that, you know what I'm saying? Digest it without properly chewing it. And by him saying Eminem bodied him on his own, I don't agree with that, man. Eminem did come off because they both had 2 verses. Eminem came off more on the first verse. They first verses, Eminem got that. But I think I wasn't there. So this is my humble opinion. I think that joint was probably supposed to be 1 verse each. But Jay was like, oh, word? You coming off like that? All right. Yo, I had to hustle. Walk back to the wall, ashy knuckles. Yo, pockets filled with a lot of lint, not a cent. Yo, Jay-Z blacked on that second verse. And he bodied Eminem verse for verse on the second verse. Second verse for second verse, Jay bodied Eminem. I don't want to hear it. But yeah, album is a banger. So that's number 3. Number 2, I'm gonna go with the Black Album, man. The Black Album was a special album because it was supposed to be the farewell tour. And, after Jay, for what was it, like 8 years straight in a row, held us down with great hip-hop music, great albums. This was it. This was the farewell tour. And, man, he had bangers, man. After all them years later, he had bangers to say farewell with, I think December 4th was a great tone, man. He gave us an introspective joint to hit. We followed his life and career for all these years, but he gave us a joint letting us know who he was. He waited to the end of his career to give us that one. And that joint was fire. Encore, banger. What more can I say? That joint right there is a banger amongst bangers, man. What more can I say? Was fire. Like, Threats with Cedric. I thought, man, Threats was that was a problem. Lucifer. Oh my god, that last verse on Lucifer. Yo. That last verse is crazy. Yeah, he had a bunch of bangers. I go back and forth between Blueprint, Black Album, whichever color you want. It could be interchangeable, but I think today the way I'm feeling, maybe because I just heard the Black Album, I heard that more recently. I played it on December 4th in honor of Jay. So maybe this time around I'm leaning Black Album because I just heard it. So I don't know, but 2 and 3 are interchangeable. And at number 1, you know what it is. I know what it is. We all know what number 1 is. It's the one that started it all, baby. This is it. Reasonable Doubt. Man, I go back to Reasonable Doubt. You know, Jay on Volume 2 on Hard Knock Life on the song, he said, I dropped the first album, but many lamed out. Didn't really appreciate it till the second one came out. I didn't fall under that category. He wasn't talking to me because me and my crew in junior high school, we loved Reasonable Doubt. We knew, peace to my man Junebug, man. You live forever through me. My man Junebug. Yo, my man Bobby, Big Dean, all of us, man, yo, on the reg, man, we was just spitting J verses all day. Boom, boom, boom. My man, peace to the God, my man Reggie, you know what I'm saying? My man Sincere, he was going by Reggie back then. The God know, man, we was heavy on that Reasonable Doubt. Boom, boom, boom. Spitting verses. Albums came out by Jay, and he's the biggest Jay fan I know. But we were still quoting Reasonable Doubt and listening to Reasonable Doubt years later. Like, that album was a staple. I had that album because remember, Jay had to re-release it for it to do its proper numbers again. Years later, he released Reasonable Doubt again because he knew people wasn't up on him like that. So in a smart move, since he owned, 80%, of the earnings was going straight to him. Only 20% was going to distribution through to Def Jam. So he did a smart move. Once he became like one of the crown kings of hip hop, he re-released it. So the second CD cover was like a black CD cover. If you had the original like I did, there was a whole bunch of contraband on the CD cover. It was a bunch of guns, a bunch of butter, there was a bunch of stuff, man. Drugs, guns, money, scales, triple beam scales. It was a bunch of stuff on that, man. A lot of contraband. But that album, I mean, Brooklyn's Finest? What? I knew that song in 1 week. I knew the whole song. I mean, that joint, like, you got presidents to represent me. Say what? But yo, it also got one of my favorite songs, couple of my favorite Jay-Z songs ever. Number 1 is probably my favorite song on that album, and that's Can I Live? Can I Live? While I'm watching you're watching me closely, it's butter for the bread, they want to toast me. I keep my head, both of them where they supposed to be. Owns a catch you. Have you clapped up, those feet, I don't sleep, I'm tired. Gotta admire me from 4 fiends away. Like, yo, man, listen. That joint right there, love that joint. Then Can I Live? Oh, man. Every time I hear that song, not Can I Live. Bring It On. Bring It On. Every time I hear that song, I smile, I love it, but I'm like, damn, what it could have been, man. This 3 right here could have been like the Locks. When you talking about Jay, talking about Sauce Money, and Jazzo, they could have been like the Locks, man. They could have been that nasty three-man team. Gotta Learn to Live with Regrets. Oh, man. There's a funny story to that, man. I remember my 2 of my boys were graduating. My man Rob, my man Hob, they were graduating. And we got bent, man. That's the first time. I was like 17 years old. I got bent. That was the first time I drank liquor. I ain't know. I thought you were supposed to finish the bottle. So all of us thought. It was like 4 of us. My man Alex was there. Abdul. Yo, we tried to down a whole gallon of Absolute. And yo, long story longer, we drinking, getting tossed, and I had the Reasonable Doubt album on repeat when I came home. And every time I had it on cassette at that time too. So I kept playing the cassette, and flipping it. Playing the cassette, flipping it. And every time I would wake up, 'cause I was hungover the whole day, and every time I would wake up, the song Regrets was playing. And it was like, you gotta learn to live with regrets. And I was like, damn, I regret drinking that much. But you gotta learn to live with regrets. That's my top 5 Jay-Z albums. And I would love to hear from my Jay-Z fans, because Jay got a lot of fans. What's y'all top 5 Jay-Z albums of all time? Give me your top 5 Jay-Z albums of all time. I gave you mine. The Champagne album, In My Lifetime, Volume 1 at number 5. Number 4, I got The Dynasty. Number 3, Black Album. Number 2, Blueprint Black Album. And number 1, Reasonable Doubt. What's your top 5 J albums? I'm Watch for Wise Words Media. Peace.